Yavapai Broadcasting and the City of Cottonwood proudly present Inside Cottonwood, an inside look at the decisions and issues of the City of Cottonwood. Brought to you by Arizona Smile Designers.
Obesity now affects 17% of all children and adolescents in the United States, triple the rate from just one generation ago. Families and communities lie at the foundation of the solution to the problems of overweight and obesity, and that is what we're here to discuss today. Good morning and welcome to Inside Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Edition. My name is Jason Little, Recreation Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and with me today I have Miss Megan Anderson, and she's a clinical dietitian with Fit Kids of Arizona. Welcome, Megan.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate being on the show, Megan. When I bring someone new onto the show, I always like to put them on the hot seat, and unfortunately, you're here by yourself today, so you're the only one who's going to be sizzling.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you hail from, where you grew up, where you went to school, and anything else you'd like to share?
Sure. So I was born in Flagstaff, just, north of here, and raised in Carson City, Nevada, which is 30 minutes south of Reno, 15 minutes from Lake Tahoe. It's a beautiful area. And then I did my undergraduate studies. I have a bachelor's of culinary nutrition from Johnson & Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island. And after school finished, I decided I wanted to come back to Arizona. I've been in the state a resident for about 6 years now, and I've been part of the Cottonwood community for about 4 months.
Fantastic. Any hobbies you'd like to share with?
I like hiking and exploring all of the good hikes in the area. I've been kind of going up to Utah a little bit more now that I've got a real job and I can travel. I knit. I like to go. I'm not a big running person, so I go to the rec center a lot and use the machines there to take the ease off. And I've got my dog who keeps me company here.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I have to ask because I didn't initially know. I know what a dietitian is. Is there a difference between a dietitian and a clinical dietitian?
No. It's just basically that's what my title at the at Fit Kids is clinical dietitian, but really the official title is registered dietitian, and you have to do that. You have to do a 4-year nutrition program, and then you have to go through an internship, and it's a really intense process. They're usually about 8 months. Some of them go for 2 years, and you do rotations in clinical settings, community settings, food service, and then at the end you take this big test, and then hopefully you pass and you get registered.
So how'd you score on the test?
I'm not sure how I scored, but you have to get an 80 to pass, and I passed, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I got to ask, because you really enlightened me before we even went on the air here. I thought Fit Kids was affiliated with Let's Move, but you told me differently. And we'll get into that in a second, but how did you find the job?
I actually I had been working at Flagstaff Medical Center, and when I started doing my dietetic internship last year, I did a rotation and I interned with Fit Kids in Flagstaff, and so it just kind of happened that my week spent there on the last day, the dietitian here, whose name was Megan, put in her 2 weeks to go back to school, and it was right when I was finishing, and so I had an in and they knew me and I applied and I finished, and so I just settled in really nicely.
And I guess you got some news you can also share with the local audience here. I was going to ask you how many people work in your department down here, and I was going to ask you who they are.
All right, so we have our department secretary, and she runs everything. She's wonderful. She calls our new referrals. She keeps things really running smoothly in the office. Her name is Tori. We have a nurse practitioner who splits her time between Flagstaff and Cottonwood, and she works with kids on any medical issues they might be having. Her name is Carol. And there's me, of course, and then we have an exercise physiologist, and she is brand new. She'll be starting at the end of the month. Moving here from Michigan, named Sarah, and we're really excited to have her on board.
I bet it's always nice to be able to share some of that workload with other people.
It sure is.
Okay, so time for the knowledge.
Right.
Like I said, I thought Let's Move was affiliated with Fit Kids, but what exactly is Fit Kids Arizona?
Okay, so Fit Kids was created by our board of directors in 2009. It was basically created because the board of directors And the pediatricians in Flagstaff and the Verde Valley noticed a really big need for a program that would reach the overweight and obese children in these communities. So they got together and created Fit Kids, and it's just been growing ever since. So we're part of Verde Valley Medical Center, but we do, like, we work on the Let's Move things when we do events with the city, like the Luau is a Let's Move event, or we do the Presidential Activity Living Challenge, which is when kids do 6 weeks of exercise and making good food choices and drinking their water, they get a little certificate from, it's signed by Barack Obama, and we give that out to them. So we do have some of those sponsored events that we work with.
So are you also instrumental in developing the curriculum for the program, or who develops the curriculum?
For what we teach the kids? Yeah, it's kind of, it really goes based off of the knowledge that the practitioners have, and so we don't really have like a set curriculum. I do for when I teach in the schools, and I develop that, but really it's based off of every family's needs and what they need to work on.
And I know these aren't questions that I told you I was going to ask you.
That's okay.
How many parents and families do you reach every week?
Every week it's usually, let's see, around 15 families, just depending on the week. We currently have, I think it's around 93 active families in the or in the program, and that's between Cottonwood, Sedona, and Camp Verde.
And we're going to talk about it later, but they all know about the luau this weekend, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they do.
I always want to know this. I like knowledge. Every organization has a mission. Does Fit Kids have one?
We sure do. Our mission is to promote healthy lifestyles for children and their families while reducing the consequences of childhood obesity.
Okay. And that stat I actually found off of CDC that really amazed me. I don't know if that's correct or not. Does that sound about right? 17%?
So yeah, I think it's like 17% are obese and around 19 are overweight. So it ends up being about 33%, or a third of our kids are considered overweight or obese. Wow. Yeah.
Where is Fit Kids located?
Fit Kids is located just behind the hospital. We have where their human resources department is. There's a little courtyard of office buildings, and so we're right there on Candy Lane.
Okay. And what can a family expect when they show up at your office?
Well, it's a scary thing, really, when you become a part of this program, because it's hard for some parents. They feel guilty or like they've done a bad job, but really it's a very warm environment. They'll be greeted by our secretary, and we weigh and measure every kid on every appointment just so we can track their progress. It's nice to have those numbers for people to see and families to see. And we'll also take pictures of our new kids just so they can see where they were when they started and then where they are when they end the program and graduate. And then they'll meet with the practitioners. So they'll sit with, on their first appointment, they'll sit with all four of us. So there's the nurse practitioner, myself, the dietitian, the exercise physiologist, and our program. Oh, I forgot to say, we have a program counselor too.
Let's don't forget that one.
Yeah, and she's great. She addresses bullying and self-esteem and all those issues. So the first appointment, we really try to get a good picture of everything that's going on in the family's life. It's really not just the patient or the child, it's the whole family who we work with. So we will address any self-esteem issues. I go through this huge, it's like 6 pages of questions about their eating habits and their what they eat. What do they snack on? Do they like fruits and vegetables? How often do they eat fruits and vegetables? What about soda? What about juice? And so we go through that. Our exercise physiologist asks how much TV they're asking, and we'll test their fitness level and test how strong they are. And then the nurse practitioner will get a really strong medical background. And so from that point, we set goals for every child to work on between appointments, and they're really easy goals. And after that, they come in and they see whoever they need to see. Sometimes kids don't have emotional problems, so they might not see Sherry as much, or they might be pretty active, especially the little like 4 or 5-year-olds. They're always running around, so they might not have as big of an exercise issue. And usually they see me every time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is it primarily obesity related then, or do you guys address those other issues that you brought up, or is it all just kind of the whole package? You guys just kind of...
We will address everything. So it is obesity related, and that's why they're here. But when you have an obese or an overweight child, you have all these problems that stem from it. So they might be developing sleep apnea, where they're having snoring at an early age because they're working harder to breathe in their sleep, or We do have a lot of kids who are bullied or have a hard time at school or have a hard family life, so we address those issues. So we really do try to address everything that's going on.
We're getting close to our first break here, but can you give us, I know you can't talk about, client confidentiality, but a success story.
Our biggest success is when we see a family and they come in and they might not be motivated at first, they might be really nervous, but it's when the whole family gets on board. So they'll come in and we'll see no progress, no progress, no progress, and then all of a sudden something clicks and the whole family realizes why they're doing this, and it's to have this healthy life and to live longer and to feel better about themselves. And then it's, kids don't always lose the weight, but they do grow. They stop gaining weight so fast. They see, some of their high blood sugar problems resolved, or they might have high cholesterol and that'll get resolved. And so that's really the coolest thing about the program.
That's fantastic. Megan, if you could you maybe give the audience a telephone number and an email address whereby they could reach you if they had any questions?
Sure. The phone number for Fit Kids is 928-639-6343. And if anyone had any questions that they wanted to email to me, my email address is megan.anderson@nahealth.com.
There you have it, folks. 639-6343. That's where you can reach Megan and with Fit Kids of Arizona. And we'll see you after the break.
Meet the team at Arizona Smile Designers, offering complete, comprehensive, restorative, and aesthetic dentistry. Dr. Vergara and Dr. Lord specialize in dental health, implants, and cosmetic dental procedures. Expert staff and state-of-the-art equipment bring forth the most from your smile. Dr. Ripplinger conveniently comes to Arizona Smile Designers for oral surgery and complicated procedures. Visit Arizona Smile Designers at 350 South Willard in Cottonwood. Insurance and new patients are welcome. Call 634-8610.
If you suspect your teen is using a cell phone to connect to drugs, don't ignore the signs. Go to the partnership at drugfree.org.
Good morning and welcome back to Inside Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Edition. My name is Jason Little, Recreation Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and with me today I have Miss Megan Anderson, Clinical Dietitian for Fit Kids of Arizona. Welcome back, Megan.
Thanks, Jason.
Megan, when we went to break, you really enlightened me as it pertains to how you guys just view the whole client. I mean, they get, a whole thing, a whole menage, a battery of testing and things like that. And then you kind of gauge where they're at and where you want them to be. I guess that leads me into my next question, and that is, how would someone join the Fit Kids program?
In order to join, you do have to be referred by a pediatrician, or if you don't have, maybe you don't go to Red Rock or Sampson, but if you go to the Yavapai County Health for any medical needs, they can refer, and also school nurses can refer kids now if they see a child. They have to be above the 85th percentile for their height and weight, for their BMI, with maybe with two comorbidities, so like they might have high blood sugars or the sleep apnea or high cholesterol, triglycerides, or above the 95th percentile for their BMI for their age group.
So a lot of your referrals will actually come from doctors and or school nurses, or all of them?
Yep, all of the above. Every once in a while we do have the ability, because we have a nurse practitioner, if someone comes in and they really need to be seen and they don't have a doctor, our nurse practitioner will work with them and do a self-referral, which is a great addition to the program because it really allows us to reach everyone in the community.
And I'm sure you get asked this next question a lot, but one, does it cost money? And if so, is it covered under insurance umbrellas?
A lot of insurance companies do have some payment options for programs like this, where they might cover an initial visit and 3 following visits a year or something like that. But really, we won't turn anyone down because of money. So if your insurance runs out or you just don't have insurance, we will see everyone free of cost.
And I guess another question I have is, how does a doctor determine whether or not a child is overweight?
It's called the BMI, which is that number that looks at kind of it's called your body mass index, and it looks at how much fat versus lean body mass a person has. It's a formula that calculates their height and their weight. For kids, you can't just use the BMI, so you have to compare it to where they are on a growth chart for their age and gender. And so they just determine it basically how that child rates to other children in their age group.
I don't know if a lot of parents view it like that, but I mean, I'm sure kids are a little apprehensive when they come in. I mean, do you guys just totally throw out everything they're doing and put them on a strict diet and exercise regimen? And I mean, how do you implement this plan of action?
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's a scary thing to bring your child to a program like this, and it's really, we believe that this change happens with really small steps. So we do a little bit of education at each appointment, and we set very small goals, so no more than 3 goals at a time from each practitioner. And they're things like increase your vegetables to 1 serving 4 days a week. That might be a goal. Or only drink soda 3 days a week. Or our exercise physiologist might say, make sure you're getting 30 minutes of heart pumping activity every day, or limit your screen time. So we do really small steps to build to this whole big picture.
And then do you give them like a variety of things they can do to like increase their heart time, reduce their screen time? How a typical child, how much television does a typical child watch? Is there statistics out there?
I know there are statistics, but I'm not sure. But we have kids who might spend 6 hours a day watching TV, or after school, that's all they do is they come home, they sit down, and they watch TV from the time they're home to the time they go to bed. So it just really varies. You want to try and limit it to no more than 2 hours of screen time a day. So that could be the TV, video games, the computer, time you spend on Facebook or the internet, all of those things.
That's really good to know. Another question, I guess, would be, how long would a typical appointment be with one of your clients?
Our first appointment is always really long. We've started splitting them up, actually, because they're so long. Because my first appointment and our nurse practitioner's first appointment with a kid is an hour each, and then with our exercise physiologist and our counselor, it's a half hour each. So that makes for like a 3-hour appointment if they see everyone on their first visit. So we've been splitting those up, so it's about an hour and a half the first time you come in, or the first 2 times, and then after that it's between an hour and an hour and a half, just depending on who you need to see that day.
How long would you be in the program for?
It really varies. Some kids come in and they have these great changes and they're really motivated and they can stick with them. It's usually at least 6 months, because we like to see families that are actively working on those goals for 6 months and making those changes and keeping up with everything they've worked on. And you know, you won't see us every 2 weeks or every month in those 6 months. Maybe you'll just see us twice. You'll come back at 3 months and then come back at another 3 months and you'll be done. And there are some families who are in the program for 2-3 years, just depending on what works for them.
You've kind of touched on it earlier, but do you work with, what age groups do you work with?
Let's see, our youngest kiddo is around 3 years old, the youngest one I've seen, and we go all the way up through 17, 18 years old, right, basically until they graduate high school.
Why are programs like Fit Kids important in a community?
Well, as you mentioned with those CDC stats, you know, almost a third of our children are overweight or obese. And programs like this, they really focus a lot on prevention and education to help stop these problems when they're younger. There's a CDC, I think it's CDC stat that says that a child who's overweight or obese has a 50% chance of staying overweight or obese. But when you see a teenager or an adolescent who's obese, their chances jump to 80% that they'll stay that way.
Wow.
So it's really to help stop it in the tracks and then reduce these illnesses that these kids are starting to have that are normally seen in middle-aged adults, like diabetes and high blood pressure, and just to kind of stop everything, reverse it if we can, help them out.
Partnerships. I know that you partner with a lot of different agencies in the community, and you do a lot with Parks and Recreation. We appreciate that. We enjoy the partnership. We have a large event coming up, and when we come back from break, I'd like to go into the luau that's going to be held at the outdoor pool this upcoming Saturday.
Sure.
So if you could lead us into break once more, and if a person had any questions about the upcoming luau or any questions about Fit Kids in general, do you have a telephone number for them?
Yep, our phone number is 639-6343, And if you wanted to email, you could email Megan.Anderson@nahealth.com.
There you have it, 639-6343. That's the number where you can reach Megan and get any information you have about Fit Kids or the upcoming luau, or you can also contact the Parks and Recreation Department about the luau, and that number is 639-3200. We'll see you after the break.
Meet the team at Arizona Smile Designers, offering complete comprehensive, restorative, and aesthetic dentistry. Dr. Vergara and Dr. Lord specialize in dental health, implants, and cosmetic dental procedures. Expert staff and state-of-the-art equipment bring forth the most from your smile. Dr. Ripplinger conveniently comes to Arizona Smile Designers for oral surgery and complicated procedures. Visit Arizona Smile Designers at 350 South Willard in Cottonwood. Insurance and new patients are welcome. Call 634-8610.
Thousands of fires across the United States are caused by careless people. Hi, I'm Fire Marshal Rick Contreras with the Cottonwood Fire Department. The major threat of human-caused fires are from burning debris that get out of control or improperly extinguished or unattended campfires. Remember that fireworks have no place on our wild lands. Become part of the solution. Learn more about proper fire safety by contacting your local fire department.
Good morning and welcome back to Inside Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Edition. My name is Jason Little, Recreation Manager, and with me today I have Miss Megan Anderson, and she is a clinical dietitian for Fit Kids of Arizona. Welcome back, Megan. This is our last segment, we're kind of pressed for time here, so we have 8 more questions that I'd like to get in, and if we have time for any more, then I got a few more as well. Okay. When we left for break, we were talking about the upcoming summer luau. This is an event that's near and dear to the city's heart as well because it is a partnership. Can you tell us a little bit about the event?
All right, so the event it's an official Let Move event, which is Michelle Obama's campaign to kind of get kids active and moving. It's going to be with the Rec Center in the city of Cottonwood, and it's a free event that's at the outdoor pool at the Recreation Center from 2 to 4 this Saturday, August 11th. Even though it's free, it is limited because of how many people can be at the pool, so you have to pick up tickets at the front desk at the Rec Center, but it'll be great. There's going to be games, free swimming, free food. There's Dr. Mark Pico, who's a pediatrician in the area, is going to be doing a cooking demo, and we'll have some prizes to give away as well.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but can you let them know some of the highlights, some of the prizes that are going to be given out?
The prizes, it's a bunch of different youth passes for the Rec Center because we figured what a good way to really reach a number of kids. There's 10 passes and they're different lengths. I think there's a 6-month, a couple 3 months, one, maybe some 1-month passes. I really don't remember. But really we figured it would be a great way that we could get 10 kids in the community to really, you know, the whole point of the event is to get kids moving, so let's keep them moving and keep them active and healthy.
Now, I think you're actually working with Ryan or someone at the Recreation Center right now. What other events do you guys offer or programs outside of the clinic?
Well, we do a lot of school education. That's a big part of our outreach in the community. So myself and our exercise physiologist will actually go into the classrooms and teach kids in the public schools about nutrition and exercise and activity. It's really great because it kind of helps the teachers out with their curriculum, so it incorporates math and science and English, and it gets the kids excited and it helps them learn, because really they're the ones who have this big influence on their parents and can go home and say, guess what I learned today? I learned how many vegetables I should eat, or I learned this great new way to stay active even while I'm watching TV. So we do that. We do a lot of community events, so we'll be at National Night Out giving information out, nutrition information. We're going to be at the Verde River Days in September for that. We do the Teen Maze, and then we also go and do, we might teach at the library one night if they ask if they want to have a speaker, or any organization in the community that wants us to come, we'll be there.
That's fantastic. I just wrote that down, so you'll be getting a call.
All right.
Are you guys currently in the recreation center right now? I think that you have 2 gals coming over.
Oh, yeah, we do. We have, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of programs that are sponsored by grants. Carla had mentioned that we do the Run for Good program at the schools, where we go to Oak Creek School and Cottonwood Elementary and do running games with the kids, and I think that's a 6-week program. And then also right now it's the Subway Kids in Sports program, and that's a grant program as well. And each week the kids get to come, and it's a free program, and they learn about a different sport each week. So I think this week is the last one for this first leg, but we're going to be doing another one in the fall after school.
We'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're excited.
In this community, you have a lot of children who will live with their grandparents, other people in the family due to extenuating circumstances. How many vegetables should a child be eating a day? I gotta ask.
Yeah, really the easiest way is it's the 5 a day. Have you heard that slogan before? That was started, I think it was the USDA slogan, and so it's 2 fruits and 3 servings of vegetables each day. And so for vegetables, a serving is about a half cup cooked or a cup raw, but for kids I just tell them 1 serving of vegetables is 2 hands together.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way for them to kind of see it. It's it's less for them than it is for me, and so it's kind of funny to see them when they see their parents with their big hands and I only have to eat this much.
That's great.
Yeah.
How does a parent influence a child's eating habits?
Parents are a child's first teacher, so everything that the parent does, the child notices and they mimic and they pick up on. So if a parent doesn't like a certain vegetable, a kid's going to notice that. So even if the parent might be providing carrots at every meal or salad, if the parent's not eating it, the kid's going to say, well, they don't have to do it. They don't do it. My mom doesn't do it, so I'm not going to do it. So it's the same with physical activity or eating habits. And so it's really important that we get parents on board and to make these changes and say, hey, I'm doing this too, and you want to grow up and be healthy and be strong.
A lot of traits are innate. If you're a parent and you notice your child's eating habits aren't necessarily the best, and they are gaining weight, where can you find resources as a parent to show your child or to kind of incorporate into your meal, your routine, your plan?
Depending on financial restrictions and the child's age, if they're under 5, they can always go to the county and go to WIC. They do great nutrition information for kids up to 5 and for moms starting with pregnancy. I know Yavapai County has nutrition programs they offer. If they want to go, there's a really good website. It's called kidseatright.org. And that is, it's the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is kind of this big governing body that it's really a professional organization that all dietitians are a part of. And it's their website for parents with really good resources. It's got recipes, tips and tricks for picky eaters, recommendations, and everything for even special diets that kids might be on if they have dietary restrictions or allergies or something.
Okay, how's Fit Kids funded?
Fit Kids is funded partially by grants. We do get a lot of grants, and then partially by Verde Valley Medical Center and Northern Arizona Healthcare, and that's usually we get lots of donations from within the hospital and the foundation to keep us running.
That's great. Megan, we're running out of time. I have to ask you one more question. You got about 45 seconds to answer it. How does an active community environment influence activity?
When a kid has a community that really supports physical activity, it makes the kid excited to be outside and play. So whether that's having safe parks for kids to play in, good walking programs. I know Cottonwood's been working really hard to do lots of bike programs and make it a bike-friendly community. When a kid sees that, it just shows them how important it is. And they really learn from that and grow in that environment.
That's great. Megan, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'd like to give the audience your telephone number one more time, and that telephone number is 639-6343, prefix is 928. Once again, thank you. Fit Kids of Arizona, we got the summer luau coming up August the 11th, and that is from 2 to 4, I believe.
2 to 4.
Bring your child out, free food, maybe win a free 1-month membership to the Cottonwood Recreation Center. We hope to see you there.